Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And if for those who follow me, I always talk about there are about 7, 8, 9 pillars that are destroying the moral and ethical fabric of our society today. And to name a few is mental illness, the undiagnosed mental illness, the opioid crisis, homelessness, gun violence, fatherless homes, inept inner city public schools, etc. The migrant crisis that's uncontrollable at this point is also harming our public safety and our moral and ethical fabric here in America that needs to be addressed. Well, this one is coming straight out of St. Louis, Missouri, and this has to do with our inner city public schools and some of the ineptness and some individuals that are in high positions that have other alternative missions for their job position as opposed for themselves as opposed to the nurturing and the development of our children. And I think this may be a clear example of St. Louis, the city of St. Louis, hiring the wrong superintendent after Dr. Kelvin Adams had over a 20-year run as a St. Louis public school superintendent, and we didn't have all of this chaos and disruption. And this young lady hasn't been here 2 years. So let's get into it and see what happened with Dr. Keisha Scarlett, who is out as St. Louis Public Schools Superintendent. And let's see what led to this. Just weeks before the opening of the school of this year's school year, St. Louis Public School is without a permanent leader following the sudden departure of former Superintendent Dr. Keisha Scarlett. So who is Keisha Scarlett? Scarlett officially began her duties as superintendent on July 1st, 2023, just a year ago, coming to St. Louis from Seattle to replace longtime former superintendent Dr. Kelvin Adams. And now she has already taken a leave of absence after being there just 1 year. So Dr. Millicent Borshade, Scarlett's deputy assistant, who joined her after leaving Tukwila Washington Public Schools, would take over the district. The Board of Education has approved Deputy Superintendent Dr. Millicent Borshade as acting superintendent, and she has accepted this role while Superintendent Dr. Keisha Scarlett is on temporary leave of absence. So remember, Dr. Keisha Scarlett took over after Dr. Kelvin Adams, who had been here over 20 years. She had been the superintendent 1 year and watched and listened to everything that took place within 1 year. And now she's on a leave of absence and she's being replaced by her deputy assistant, Dr. Millicent Borshade. So follow me. So the Board of Education has approved Deputy Superintendent Dr. Millicent Borshade as acting superintendent, and she has accepted the role while Superintendent Dr. Keisha Scarlett is on temporary leave of absence after 1 year on duty. The Board of Education said in a statement released at 10:20 a.m. Friday, July 26, 2024. They say, "We are fully confident that under Dr. Borshade's leadership as acting superintendent, there will be no interruptions in the ongoing work and preparations for the upcoming school year," which is fastly approaching now for those of you who have young children in St. Louis public schools. The district is bracing itself for a first day of school that will face transportation challenges also. So there are various things that are taking place in the St. Louis public schools, and I'm going to bring some of them up. And with this, the last thing that the St. Louis public school system needs is for the leader, the top person at the top of the leadership board, to take a leave of absence after 1 year, the school superintendent. So they're also having transportation issues. In response to bus driver shortages, which led to late buses and interrupted services, St. Louis Public School is hiring 19 vendors to assist with student transportation. And the fleet will include yellow buses, rideshare vehicles, passenger vans, and shuttles. Under the plan, some high school students who need transportation, estimated to be around 1,000 kids, will receive bus passes and take public transportation through Metro Transport to get to class. All high schools will now start at 7:15 a.m., which is 50 minutes earlier for 4 high schools. So they're going to start at 7:15 a.m. And they're saying around 1,000 kids need transportation, and some of them are going to catch public transportation, the Metro Transit System, which has had innumerable, between the Metro Link and the Metro Bus Transit, has had innumerable robberies, assaults, shootings, and even murders. And now we're going to send our young kids, preteen, teenagers, on these public transportation services that everybody rides. People with mental illness, talking to themselves, opioid overdosing on buses. Now we're going to put our kids in that fray as well. So they're going to have challenges getting to school. Then when they get to school, you have bullying, you have all kinds of other chaos and disruption going on in the schools, fighting. You have issues getting to school and disruption. You're going to have disruption in the schools with obedience, following the rules. And then after school, there's preparation for fights and all of these other things that take place. Where is the module for learning? Scarlett, Dr. Scarlett's recent hires, now let's talk about that, included at least 12 former Seattle administrators and employees from Seattle. So when they brought her in from Seattle, she brought 12 people with her instead of hiring people here locally, with some jobs going to spouses of those coming to St. Louis Public Schools. So not only did she hire 12 people from Seattle, she even hired their spouses. And the board evidently is approving this, the school board, which is supposed to be the overseer and the oversight for the superintendent and what all the administrators are doing at the school to either hinder or help these children. In addition, St. Louis Public School System new communications chief, Phoenix Jackson, posted online last week that she would be living in both Houston and St. Louis and float as needed between 2 lives, and she says, "I love that for me," while managing this essential role. So she's going to be the new director of communications, the chief director of communications for St. Louis Public School, but she won't even be living here. And here again, did the board approve that also? This and the Seattle hires led Board of Education President Tony Cousins to call for an investigation into St. Louis SLPS, St. Louis Public School System's hiring and temporarily freeze any additional employment additions. We will be reviewing positions as a whole, not just because of the chief of communications positions. I would hope that they would take a deeper dive, and see what's going on with that particular hire, and then present it to the board, Cousins told St. Louis Post-Dispatch. So they're going to hire this woman in a 6-figure position as the chief director of communications, and she's not even in St. Louis. How can she communicate and be the chief director of communications when she doesn't even live here and know what's going on in the city? The energy of the city has a filtering system into our school systems and our kids. We're only responsible for hiring and firing one person, and that's the superintendent. That's what the school board said. St. Louis Public School System had also reportedly gone, listen to this, from a $17 million budget surplus to facing a potential $35 million shortfall in 1 year. A $17 million surplus to a $35 million deficit in 1 year. Where do you think some of that's coming from? She brought a dozen individuals and their spouses from Seattle down here when there's enough people that are highly qualified, that could have gotten a job or have been in that position for years and knows how the system, the St. Louis public school system runs. Every major public school system throughout our country in each city is ran differently. None of them are the same. In addition, teachers and staff in the district were notified that raises approved by the board last spring that would begin in 2024-2025 would be delayed because of logistical issues. So, teachers and staff of the district that were notified of their raises, those raises are going to be put on hold while this superintendent has brought in over a dozen individuals. She's allowing her chief communications staff member live in Houston and occasionally come to St. Louis, make six figures, and not even be here full time and work completely remotely. Makes no sense. And now they're going to put a stalemate on giving raises to teachers and staff who are already historically been underpaid, underappreciated, underserved. Where are we headed? In an article by Sylvester Brown of the St. Louis American in July 2023, Scarlett said, "I have a strong faith in God's plan and purpose. I believe I was sent here as part of a divine plan, and I'm unapologetic about that." It makes me a little nervous when people start throwing God in all of these situations and pontificating and prostigating it out to the public. Your relationship with God should be personal and internal. I believe we are poised for a rebirth and renaissance to move forward as one of the greatest cities in the country. This is what Dr. Scarlett, the superintendent, said, that just took a leave of absence after 1 year. How could she pontificate about all of this beautiful things that are going to take place in St. Louis, and you've never been here, you only been here 1 year, and now you're already on a leave of absence? And we went from a $17 million surplus to a $35 million deficit. There are some checks and balances that need to be looked at in the St. Louis City public school system. There are a lot of opportunities here. We just have to make sure kids who've been most marginalized and most disenfranchised have access to opportunities. This is what Dr. Scarlett said. Scarlett's opportunity at St. Louis public school system ended less than 13 months after it began. Now, if you remember what she said that we believe we are poised for a rebirth and a renaissance to move forward as one of the greatest cities in the country. And she took it from a $17 million surplus to a $35 million deficit. It doesn't seem like there's a rebirth. There seems like there is going to be, and she has participated in a debacle with the St. Louis public school system, and it seems like the school board needs to take a look in the mirror because they picked the wrong person. And who does it ultimately affect? Our children, who are our future. What is the St. Louis City Board doing? And she barely made it 13 months after over a 20-year run with Dr. Adams. And where are we at during all of this when you have other ancillary issues that are taking place throughout St. Louis City? Potholes in the city, gun violence, smash and grabs at brick and mortar stores, homelessness, cars with temp tags or no license plates at all, driving erratic, running red lights and stop signs, the opioid crisis. You have a homeless issue that's right in front of City Hall. And where is all the money going from the Rams settlement? These are some of the reasons why many people have moved to the suburbs. City of St. Louis, and also the City of St. Louis is understaffed in the police force, police department. They need about 500 police officers. So public safety is an issue. And as I stated, they're talking about at least 1,000 kids need transportation after the contract with the yellow school bus, Central Missouri busing transportation. Now that contract has ended and is not being renewed, they don't even know how kids are going to get to school. And now you're going to put a bunch of kids on the public metro transit system that has had innumerable amount of crimes, even murder. Just about 8 months ago, a man stopped a bus was driving a stolen car, got on the bus, shot two innocent people, and killed them because he said one of them was staring at him on the bus while he was driving his car. Mental illness is a real thing. We need to be protectors of our children. I don't think putting them on major public transportation systems is the way to go. You had a situation in Philadelphia where 8 students had gotten shot right in front of the bus stop in Philadelphia. Multiple kids have gotten shot and killed in Chicago during lunchtime, after school. We should have a more secure public transportation or transportation system to get kids to and from school. And the school board needs to take a look in the mirror for hiring this young lady and allowing her to just have an open checkbook and hire all her friends and her friends' spouses to come to St. Louis. And after all the hard work that Dr. Kelvin Adams did for over 20 years, left her with a $17 million surplus, and in 1 year, she turns it into a $35 million deficit. Where are the checks and balances? This is part of the reason why we're having issues with our children and their future and them making the right decisions. Our leaders, our adults, our mentors are not doing a very good job. The leadership starts at home. Too many fatherless homes, no guidance, and then these kids come to school with all of this chaos and disruption that they have learned back at home in their cities, in their neighborhoods, and they're bringing a lot of that negativity to school. Teachers have to play a multitude of roles. They have to be a mother-father figure. They have to be a counselor, a therapist. They have to be a mentor. They have to be a loving person, and then they have to teach. So there is a lot going on in this particular case. If any of this stuff is necessarily true, then I think the most appropriate thing is, luckily, they got to Dr. Keisha Scarlett, and hopefully she is out of there within 1 year, because just think if she had been here 5 years, St. Louis Public Schools would be at a $150 million deficit. And then the entire mission of what the St. Louis Public School system is supposed to be there for is to help nurture and develop these children into young, positive, consciously aware adults. Their mission statement is going to be the pilfering of the money and the dilapidation of schools. We already see that there are tons of middle schools that are closed, abandoned, broken windows. 2 of our major high schools, the oldest black high schools west of the Mississippi, Sumner High School and Vashon, are already in trouble. Sumner has basically been closed, which is where my father went to high school, and Vashon is on the brink of being moved and sold as a result of the new NGA government $11 billion agency that is being built on Cass and Jefferson. There is going to be an entire wave where that entire neighborhood is going to change. And I come to find out that Vashon High School does not even own the property that is on. They're leasing it from somebody else, and that lease will be up in 2 years. So what are they going to do with all those kids at Vashon High School? So your 2 historical black high schools, Sumner High School and Vashon High School, are both on the brink of closing for good. This is one of the big problems with many of our inner city neighborhoods. This is happening in Chicago, Philadelphia, New York, many of our major cities, and this is a sad commentary for what is taking place in our St. Louis public school system. Let's restore our schools and our city and our public safety. Tell me what you think. This has been the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth in a positive, righteous, and God-fearing way.